Welcome to the Candle Business Coach podcast. I'm your host, Kirsty Allen, and I am the Candle Business Coach. I'm also a mum of three and a kindness advocator. This podcast is all about making and selling candles, business development, and mindset, delivered to you with advice, inspiration, and motivation in a new episode every Friday. This episode is brought to you by the membership for candle makers, the Candle Makers Collective. Becoming a member gives you access to fortnightly online group Q&A coaching sessions to support you, monthly online workshops and trainings to help you grow your business, plus frequent expert guest speakers to inspire and teach you. You'll also have access to an ever-growing resource library with templates, guides, planners, and ebooks. But my favorite aspect of the membership is our exclusive Facebook group for accountability, connection, and support. So if you're looking to take your candle business to the next level and learn more about the membership for candle makers, click the link in the show notes for the Candle Makers Collective. Welcome back to the podcast, my friend. Today we have a very special series that is now commencing called Candle Maker Connections. And I've mentioned this on the podcast a little while ago, a few episodes ago, and put a shout out to anyone that wanted to be on these episodes. And tonight we've got three beautiful ladies, and I'll let them introduce themselves, and then we'll dive into some beautiful topics and questions all about candles. So, ladies, who wants to introduce themselves first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm Bec from Carnation Candles in Rockhampton. I have a dessert candle business.
I'll go next. My name's Sue and I have revamped Treasure Candles. I've been around and doing it since about 2011 and I'm not far away from Bec. I'm in Yeppoon.
I'm Alicia from Highland Home Fragrance. I used to be Sweet Soy Candle Co, but now I make scents based on the Scottish Highland.
Beautiful. And for those playing along at home, you will have noticed that all three of these ladies have been on the podcast before. So we're all experts at this. And I'm sure there's no nerves, in any of you. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, so moving on, I would love to know, and I think I probably asked this in each of your podcast episodes, but for anyone that's listening that hasn't had a chance to go back, I'd love to ask this question. And it's, what inspired you to become a candle maker? So out of all the side hustles, out of all the different creative businesses or expressions that you could choose from, why candles? Like, how did you settle on that as your passion?
We had shifted houses and our house was a little bit Balinese and I just wanted a candle that was outside of the box. I just didn't want the normal style candle. So I just set about to start making my own because I couldn't find what I wanted, and that's where it started. I made them for a long time before I went to market, but it was just me trying to find a niche in the market that I don't think was filled locally. That's how I started.
It's about finding, as you say, not necessarily just a gap in the market, but fulfilling a need for yourself that spills out into fulfilling needs for other people, which is so beautiful. What about you, Alicia? Why candles?
For me, well, I started making them because someone suggested it to help my sister through a rough time, try and get her brain to focus on something, because I think she was 15 or 14 at the time. But, I had to learn first to teach her. She was not interested. So I kept going. And then we bought a house and we had space and I had time. So I was like, well, I'm just going to make a thing of this.
And what about you, Bec?
I'm a bit of a foodie, so I love to eat and I like to bake and stuff. And I thought, okay, there's so many like cake businesses and stuff around. My dream job was actually to start a food truck, but I didn't go with that. I went with candles and decided to make some dessert candles and like all food kind of based products. And this is where I'm at now, 2 years later.
I love how you've each got a different initial starting point, and yet we're all in the same boat in that we love candles, we're obsessed with them, and within our business you can then diversify into other products that still complement what candles are. So we've spoken about why we've started our candle business, but how has that evolved over time? Like, how has your business evolved? Have you rebranded? Have you pivoted? Are you on the same mission when you started? So you've been in business the longest out of all of us. Have you had a rebrand? Has things changed, or have you have you stayed in the same lane where you began?
Oh, I would say that the candles I made initially don't compare to what I make now. Like, when you start, you experiment with colours and lay your candles on angles so you get different lines and you layer. And, I started with all of that. And now I look back and just go, oh, my goodness. And it was what I liked, but as I've evolved, it's not what my candle addicts like. What I've evolved into is completely different with what I started, but it was still good to be able to do all that playing around and find out what I really, really liked. Like with the multi-layered candles, you have a pink, a green, a yellow, whatever, and then, you're burning it, you test burning it, and then that ends up like muddy brown, so you're learning lots of things. So yeah, I have definitely evolved from the start, from just basic to much more professional, I think is probably a good word. I don't know, but yeah, I have definitely changed from the start.
I remember when we spoke on our podcast episode that you had mentioned the evolution that you had gone through with your business. And I think that's so important for newer candle makers to be mindful of, that where you start isn't going to be where you end up. It's a constant learning journey, and your skills improve, your knowledge about what your customers want from you improves as well, and you grow with that knowledge. So you're going to naturally pivot and evolve, but it can take a big step into like completely rebranding, which is something that Alicia has a little bit of knowledge in because her rebrand is still quite fresh.
I actually went through my Canva account the other day and I went all the way back to the bottom where you can see where you started doing. And it looks ridiculous compared to where I am now. I couldn't believe it. There was so much pink, which is not the brand at all. I feel like with a rebrand is like a crazy idea. You have 1 second, then the next is just happening.
I think what was interesting with you is that it was such a quick decision that you took immediate action. You didn't sit on it. You didn't dwell on it. You weren't feeling inspired with the previous business. You were going in a different direction for a variety of reasons. And then you took the action and now you're just going full steam ahead with the new business. And I think that's so important because being able to pivot in a completely different direction, still within candles, but it's the type of customer that you're attracting now is very different. The look of the candles is very different. And it takes a lot of courage to do that because when you get to a point in your business that you think, I just don't believe in it anymore, I don't love it as much as I used to, you're at a crossroads of, okay, well, do I stop completely or do I rebrand and try something new? And that's the path that you chose and it's working out so well. So it's exciting to see where your growth is taking you even in these early days of the rebrand.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been since I rebranded now, 3 or 4 weeks. And it's crazy. My email list is at nearly 400 people from the previous business though. And not a single one cares about the new rebrand, which is fine. I know they're totally different customers. But it's crazy to me that you can have, like, I don't think that's a huge email list, but it's definitely good. But the fact that, you can have 400 people that loved one side of your business or one business and not the next, that's crazy to me, but also helps me identify who isn't my customer going forward.
Have you had a lot of unsubscribes from the list?
I haven't checked.
Yeah. Okay.
I tend not to check them because I just don't focus on that because I personally unsubscribe from so many emails myself that I just don't take it to heart to even look at. I'm way more interested in who signs up.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Bec? How's your email list going?
My email list is pretty terrible, to be honest.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Is it not a focus for you at the moment?
Not really. Like, I think mine is more like Instagram, making sure I do my posts and stuff on there. Like, everyone's on my back about getting on TikTok, and I'm like, TikTok's not for me. I don't find any interest in it myself. When I started off, I was kind of focusing on things that I liked compared to what I should have been focusing on things that, people are going to buy. I think that's the first big mistake that I made. I made like all my branding to suit me because I was like, this is my business, I want it to be for me instead of looking at the big picture like I need it to be for everybody that wants to be my customer. So I think that's like a big mistake that I made early on.
I wouldn't use the term mistake as such.
Yeah.
I think I mean, not to disregard what you just said, but
Yeah, no.
you very much, you do what you think is best at any point in your business. And then when you learn more and you understand more, then you can reassess and pivot. And I think I just want to go back to that previous point you made about TikTok not necessarily being the right platform for you. I love that you're being strong with that and that you're not jumping on every platform because there's that fear of, oh, what if I miss out on sales if I'm not on every platform? Because when you dilute where you appear like into so many different platforms, there's only so many hours in the day, and it can become quite draining if you try and be everywhere for everyone every day all the time. So
yeah. And I did mention that to a lady the other day because she was kind of on my back, like, you need to be on TikTok, like that's where it's at, that's where you're going to make money. And I said, literally, if you see me doing dances on TikTok, I am really strapped for cash.
yes, there are other ways to make money if you need to go down that route.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. So I want to just take it back to the basics of candle making for a moment. And I want to chat about wax and fragrance oil. How did you choose, or how did you end up with the wax of your choice? Now, you don't need to mention which wax you're using if you don't want to, or which fragrance oils or where you purchase them from. But there are so many different types of waxes on the market, and there's different brands, different suppliers that sell different fragrance oils. So I'm curious, did it take just through that testing process to figure out what you want, or did you know from the get-go what you wanted to work with? I'll start with you, Sue.
So I used to use a soy wax, a natural soy wax, and it was okay. But I quickly learned I don't like the look of the cratering in the natural soy wax. I really, really don't like the look of that. It was unappealing. And people that don't burn candles all the time, they'd buy it and go, oh, there's something wrong with my candle, but that's just natural soy wax. So then I played around with a couple of blends of soy wax. I threw some beeswax in there and that worked better. But still, in the end, it didn't have a good shelf life. I don't know if you ladies have had the experience. Sometimes soy wax, after a period of time, grows. It grows as in, you have a centimetre at the top of the candle with your wick, but it can actually grow and you lose the wicks. Has anybody else had that happen?
Yeah, I've had it happen.
Yeah, and so then that's not good when you're selling in a shop that, you can't see the wick anymore. So that's when I started playing around with different waxes. I've changed waxes and I'm really happy with the wax I've got now, long shelf life. But, yeah, I used the soy wax, the straight soy wax for a long time. But, yeah, I just don't like the cratering. And my customers aren't concerned that it's not completely soy wax. They're more concerned about the smell and how it looks and how it burns. They like that smooth finish. It was just experimenting. That's how I worked out what I liked.
I think that's the best way to do it, because you won't know how a wax will perform like in your location with the different fragrance oils that you're trying, the different temperature, the humidity, all the different variables until you actually buy the wax and try it. So it's good that you actually did experiment, which is so important to do. It's just part of those.
The humidity is a big thing in our area.
Yeah.
The humidity is not good. It's so hot here. And the other thing too is with the fragrances, picking the fragrances that I take to market or I sell in the shop. Some fragrances yellow and they're under the fluoro lights and they yellow, or they buy them and a customer or an addict will put them on their windowsill and then they yellow. So I still love the fragrances, but it was working out how I was going to fix that issue so they didn't look not nice, as they were. I like them to look pretty. So for the fragrances that I have that have the vanillin in, I always put a little bit of yellow liquid dye in with them, so they're yellow to begin with. So then as they yellow under the fluoro lights, it doesn't look bad. They just becomes a prettier shade of yellow. So that was my compromise with the vanillin in the fragrances. And again, that's just learning, sitting on a shelf for 3 months and, oh my goodness, the top's yellow but the bottom's white. It looks terrible.
That's a really good tip for anyone that's experiencing the yellowing of their candles, is to put a little bit of yellow cream when making the candles.
So if I have a little recipe. So, I do, 1.5 kilos of wax in a batch because I only do small batches. So I'll have the recipe, a certain amount of grams, your fragrances, 1 drop of yellow. And every time I make that candle or that fragrance, it's made exactly the same each time. So I know that the colour's going to be the same every time.
It means that you've got that quality control when you're making
Yes.
the candles as well, which is so important, especially for customers that do prefer the aesthetic. They want it to burn with that clean surface, that smooth surface, which not every wax will give you that result. So you've just got to try and figure out what wax is the best one for you, depending on what you like to work with and also what your customers prefer as well. What about you, Alicia and Bec? How did you decide on your wax?
I tried everything. Like, because Aroma was only 20 minutes from me, I purchased like the smallest amount that you could of the waxes, and I tried the ones they had. I didn't like any of them, so I done the same with LCS, and I liked their waxes a lot better. And my favorite wax is actually, I think it's called M12, but the paraffin content in it is crazy. Like, it's got 40% paraffin nearly, which I don't like personally, even though the candle itself was beautiful. So I used coconut soy from LCS instead, because it's the without the paraffin that makes it M12. So it does have that ugly crater kind of look once you burn it, which I hate. But I feel like for me in my business, it suits better. I can brand it as like natural and tell people, like, I can spin it in a way it's like, oh, it's just a natural wax. That's why it looks like that.
Mm.
And that kind of suits the vibe of the brand.
That's really important to go and make products that you believe in, regardless of perhaps how they look, but like trusting your own values and trusting your own decisions and doing your research and going with what feels right for you. So yeah, that's really important. What about you, Bec?
So I can guarantee I've used every single wax you could ever imagine. So when I started, I just bought everything. I was like, yep, I'm going to master all this. And I can tell you what, I've mastered none except for the one I use today. I got to think of, like, for my dessert candles, what I can actually whip to pipe that's not going to set immediately. And I've had to like create a balance of a blend between two waxes. And I pretty much go back to that wax every single time. All my dessert candles, they've never changed. But if I'm making any normal candles for like a custom order, I still use the same wax because, yeah, like I love M12 as well, except I could not master it. So you guys are doing awesome to be able to master it. I just could not get it.
So, Bec, can I ask a question? You know, with your dessert candles, you use lots of colours and that they look beautiful. I know from my experience with the soy wax, the colours sometimes fade or bleed. You know, if you've got a yellow then with a pink heart on top.
Yep. So they do. They definitely bleed. It depends, like, because I only make small batches as well. So
good. Yeah.
I can, like, I will make, say, 4 of everything. And then, like, when they sell down to 1, I'll make a new batch of it. Frosting is bad as well for me.
Yeah.
Like,
with colour it is.
Oh, I just can't get around it. Like, and it's the evil of two, you know, you either have frosting or you have a candle that's like contains paraffin that I cannot whip. Like, it just will not hold its shape. So
with the frosting though, with your candles, because they're a dessert candle, sometimes the frosting can look like texture in a milkshake or in the ice cream. So it looks good anyway.
Yeah, it does. Like, I've owned it now. Frosting stays.
I have to ask, has anyone had a customer that has said, oh, I don't like this frosting? Or they might not have used the word frosting, but has anyone actually had someone to say, I don't like?
Yeah, I have. I've had it before. Yeah, they're like, what is wrong with this candle? And I'm like, and I have to explain to them, you know, that it's a natural occurrence with soy wax. And yeah, they had no idea, but they thought it was diseased. Like, that was their actual. I was like, oh, okay, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Oh my goodness. It's very much about educating our customers about the different aspects of candle making. And I even had a friend message me yesterday and she said, oh, my sister's candle warmer has broken. Do you still have yours that we could borrow? And so I sent her a photo of, well, what I defined as a candle warmer, like a candle lamp that you put a candle underneath and it melts the wax. So I sent her that and she's like, oh, no, that's not it. And then she sent me a photo of what she meant and it was a wax melter. And she's like, oh, clearly I'm not a candle person because I have no idea what it was called. So it's about, you know, even educating friends and family about what we do and all the different aspects. It's not just, you know, there's so much more, as we know, to candle making than just fragrance and wax
Yeah.
and melting the two together. When it comes to the design and the aesthetics of your candles, how do you know what your vision is? Like, how do you bring your vision to life? Because each of you have got such different businesses, which I love. Like, there's so much variety and there's so many directions that you can take your business. But when it comes to the actual design, like even the labels or the look of the candle, the color jar you choose, how do you bring your vision to life?
For me, I suppose I've had a lot of different jars over the years, and probably if it sells at market, then it's something I will continue to use. If it's a jar that doesn't sell at market or 3 other candle makers have got it, I won't continue to use it. So really, I suppose I buy in what I like to begin with. I see if it sells. If it sells well, well, then it comes back. If it doesn't sell well, well, then it doesn't make it to market again.
That's so important because you're not going to know necessarily what will sell or what people are attracted to until you just start, you just try. You mix it up with different things. You give customers a choice or choices of what you can bring to market or to your online customers, and then be guided by what's actually selling and what they actually want.
I bought some big jars. They hold about 1 kilo of wax, and initially I probably bought 30 of each, which was a big investment. And the one that I love the most, I call it Miss Rosalie, so people can come and go, buy Miss Rosalie, and she's scented with patchouli and sandalwood. And it doesn't sell as well as Miss Evelyn, but I think Miss Rosalie is so much nicer. So then when I take the candles to market, I take the one that sells. And so I've still got like 20 of Miss Rosalie sitting in the candle cave because she is not selling. So it's a lot of money tied up in jars that aren't selling.
Which is part of that learning process when you bring out a new range. If you don't know how it's going to perform, best to make small batches so that you don't have those jars and waxes.
Don't buy 30 of them all at once.
Yeah. What about you, Alicia? How did you, especially with the new brand, how did you bring your vision to life?
I woke up one morning, had the vision in my head of the entire rebrand. Like I said to you previously, like the rebrand was just an idea one morning and that was it. The look of the jar and the label were just in my head. And so I just followed it. I don't know how to explain it other than it was just there.
I think that's a sign. Like that is a sign, like this has to happen.
Yeah, that's how I felt. It was like the strongest feeling ever.
So that's the right move for you if you get that feeling.
Yeah.
When it's so clear in your mind, it is so much easier to then bring it to life rather than if you have this vague idea of kind of what you want and you're not quite sure how it's going to look and you dance back and forth between ideas. When you've got those clear, visions of what you want for your business, all you got to do is take action and then, it comes to life.
Yeah.
So it's good that you took the action rather than just sitting on the idea.
Yeah.
What about you, Bec? How did you bring your visions to life?
I feel like if I could go back and start again, it would be so much better because I literally just spent too much money on stuff that wasn't even important. Like instead of doing photos for my website and that, I would design these crazy labels that I loved and made everything like bright and fun because I thought, that's what I wanted my brand to be. Now, 2 years on, I found that I need to be cohesive in all my labels. I need to have proper photos done on my website. I feel like the vision never really ends. You're always like trying to come up with something better and do better for your business. But yeah, I think like just I had that vision that I wanted to incorporate like the foodie side of it. And then like I just started off with 4 fragrances, worked on that, and now I'm up to 20. So, and I didn't have the jar problem. I always use clear jars. So you can see that detail and work that I actually put into them. So yeah, it's hard for me when Mother's Day and stuff comes up because I think like, I don't want to have to go and test all these new jars and be like, the normal candles. So yeah, I'm sticking to my thing of just keeping dessert candles going, and me and Sue are actually teaming up in a couple of weeks at a market, and Sue's going to have her normal candles and I'm going to have my dessert candles, and people can just buy what they love.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great idea, Bec, because our customers will bounce off each of us. Oh my God, Bec, your candles are so cute. My niece will love them, but my candles won't suit their nieces. I'm more the growing up look in my candles. Yeah, so I think it's going to be great. We're going to be, what did I say we're going to be? Scent sisters.
That's right, scent sisters.
Scent sisters.
I love that.
All right, here's a question for you that I think will be an interesting one to answer. How do you navigate the balance between creating candles for yourself, yes, to sell, but also catering to market demand?
I literally just do it anyway.
Do it anyway? You don't have that internal struggle?
No, I just say, well, I'm making this, and then if it sits on the shelf for 2 months, I'm like, okay, that wasn't such a good idea.
But if somebody comes and asks you, Bec, and they want, I don't know, banana lolly candles, and you don't have that scent, would you then go out and buy it and make it just for the one person?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm pretty flexible with that. The testing side of it is where I'm like, oh, if it's only going to be one and I think, okay, nobody else is going to buy banana lollies, I'll probably just say, yeah, I'm not going to stock that. It'll be just a custom order because testing takes so long in dessert candles. So yeah, I've got to weigh it up. Depends
I
too
like
if they're
banana
regular.
lollies.
Yeah.
Sue wants you to make one for her.
But yeah, it depends if they're a regular customer or not, I guess.
Yeah, if they were a regular, definitely, I'd say
definitely.
yes. But if they're just a random, and that sounds terrible, I don't mean it to sound bad, but yeah.
Oh, because a lot of people do approach and say, oh, can you make campfire candle in a dessert style? And I'm like, probably not.
You could do a fire pit candle for boys.
Yes, I could actually.
You could little bits of coal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Got the creative juices flowing now. What about you, Alicia? Your brand is so specific to a particular place in the world, and you've chosen 10 fragrances for your brand. Do you feel like you that will be the 10 that you will always have, or do you feel like that it'll evolve into perhaps more or less depending on market demand?
Yeah. So I'm planning on keeping the 10 core scents. If anything, doesn't sell well or anything, then I would probably replace it. But I'm going to be releasing a scent for every season as well. So I've already got my winter scent done, Christmas done. So yeah, there's going to be a new scent every 3 months just for that 3 months. That's how I'm planning on doing it anyway. So I have 11 scents because I have a remembrance candle in a honeysuckle scent. So there will be 12 scents on the website or available year round. Fingers crossed. That's the plan anyway.
Yeah, that's so good. And knowing that you stay within your brand but still experiment with other fragrances, it means that you can still be creative and try something new and not always just make the same candles, the same fragrances. Which is good because you want to have that creative expression. You want to be able to have fun with your brand as well and share that joy with your customers and potential customers as well. A question that's just popped into my head, and I'm so curious to hear your thoughts, ladies. Have you ever thought about stopping your business? Have you ever been faced with challenges where you thought, I don't want to do this anymore, I can't do this anymore, but then you found that inner voice that said, don't give up, keep going?
Well, for me, I definitely have that thought at least once a week.
Oh, so it still happens for you?
Yep, still happens. Even today, I'm like, because I've got a casual job now as well, I'm trying to balance household and business and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm not seeing the results that I want to see. I know how far I've come. I know how much money I've put into it. And it's hard. I got to, you're really hanging out with very little recognition for what work you do. So I do find it hard and I really struggle with it. And every week I'm like, that's it. Once I sell my stock, this is it. I'm done. And then the next morning I'll wake up and be like, why would I ever give up my business? But yeah, I still have it weekly.
Yeah. What about you, Sue? Have you ever thought about throwing in the towel?
I never seriously, because I do love it. when we talked in our podcast the other day, I love decorating with the candles. So I'm moving them around and lighting them up. And today, though, I'm stacking the dishwasher and I've been down in the candle cave and I thought to myself, you know what, if I wasn't making candles, I could be out in the garden. Wouldn't that be nice? So I have moments, but I don't think I would really ever. I just love it too much. And I understand where Bec's coming from. I'm lucky I'm in a position where we have a business aside from the candles, and that financially keeps me going. So candles it covers itself. It makes a profit, but it's not my bread and butter. So I don't have to have that pressure put on me, Bec's got to go out there and she's got the kids, and I'm just like this stay-at-home housewife that works 2 days a week in the real business, and then the rest of the time is just fun time in the candle cave. So
living your dreams, living your vision, living your passion.
I'm
and when
in my
those
happy
moments,
place.
definitely in your happy place. And when you have those moments of perhaps doubt or uncertainty, as you say, they're short-lived because you've got a successful business and it's working for you and you enjoy it so much. So,
and you can have a day, and Beck, you would know about it. You have a day where the markets are slow and you think, I've wasted. Wasted is, again, not a good word. I've been at the market all day. I could have been laying by the pool or doing the housework, but it's still, at the end of the day, I like to chat to the customers or the candle addicts. So it doesn't matter if I have a quiet market, I still love it. So even when I have a quiet market, I still don't want to give up.
And what about you, Alicia? I know you've rebranded, so you've got the passion and the excitement of the new business, but in that transition between the two, or maybe at other points, have you ever thought of just stopping?
The second that my dad drove to my house and said he needed to go to hospital, there was a thought in the back of my head saying, I'm not doing this anymore. Like all my energy needs to be on him, because we knew something was wrong. So I was like, I'm giving it up. I'm not going any. Like, I'm done. And then in a sense, I'm kind of lucky that it only was a month before he was gone that I could really reflect then after the funeral to be like, okay, what is it that I want to do here? Because I do have this business. I have built this brand. I don't want to run this business anymore. And then I just, had that in my mind. I run it for like a month or two after that. And then that's when I woke up that morning and was like, I'm done with this, and I'm changing it to Highland Home Fragrance, and I'm going to honor my parents with it, and I'm going to use our heritage and our memories, and I'm going to use my life story and weave it into everything and make it worth it. And every day I still have to tell myself to keep going. But yeah, I don't want to give it up because I want to see where it can take me.
Yes, and that is such a beautiful way of looking at your business and also your life, is that who knows what's on the next day. If you keep going, if you keep striving for more in your business and more in your life, you just don't know how amazing it's going to get and how much more positivity is coming your way. And for anyone that's listening that's considering perhaps stopping their business, journal your thoughts, put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard and just work through the thoughts and figure out where those fears are coming from, and talk to someone about it as well. Don't just stop your business because of whatever reason, but really work out what you want for your life and for your business, and just know that it can get so much better. It just depends on what your goals are and what work you're willing to put into your business.
And the things I've heard too, like with small business, that it can take up to 5 years before you even see anything. So that's what I hang on to at the moment. I'm like, you know what? I'm only 2 years in. I've come this far in 2 years. Imagine what another 2 years is going to do. Like, I can do this. But then that thought is always in the back of my mind, like, how much more money are you going to pour into this? Even my accountant, like, when I seen him, he's just like, like, how long are you going to keep pouring money into this when you're not getting back? Yeah, it was kind of like a hit in the face kind of thing, because I've put everything into my business, and to be told, like, how much longer are you going to do this? If it's hard. So I'm going to have to prove him wrong at tax time. I've been working my butt off this year, and I'm like, you're going to see me in profit, mate. I'm telling you.
use that negativity
Yep.
to fuel you into creating what you want. Or you can get another accountant, someone who's going to support your journey.
He's walking a thin line.
You don't have to stay around people that aren't supporting you, but it is important to also have those grounding voices that at least get you thinking about everything from a different perspective. But if you've got, family and friends and accountants and people saying to you, you should stop, you got to find a new circle. If it's your vision,
100%.
if it's your dream. Now, I'm not saying everyone leave your families, find new friends, and you know what I mean. But like, you've got to think about it. Like, if you're not having the support around you from people that are meant to love and support you, you have to wonder, A, where that's coming from, and B, like if it's a reflection on what they believe as opposed to what you know is going to happen for you in your life and your business, when you just trust the process and trust the visions that come to you in terms of how to create the next level of your business. So I would find a new accountant. But when it comes to customer feedback, how does that shape your decisions when it comes to your business? If it's constructive as opposed to just great feedback, do you listen to your customers or do you just do your own thing?
Well, I listen to mine within reason.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I think because of the work that I put into them, if people didn't like it, I was like, but why? I've put so much work into it. But I didn't realize, everyone's going to have that different opinion, whether they like a scent or don't like a scent. And I learned pretty quickly, like, I can't wear my heart on my sleeve because of the work I put in. I've got to just respect, what they say. But it is hard. Like, many nights I've come home from markets or anything like that where I've had to deal with customers and some nasty comments that have been said, and I've got to learn, how to get past that and focus on the good stuff that comes into the business and my regular customers.
Bec, what sort of feedback would you get? Like, what would customers say at market that's nasty?
Yeah.
So I've had people like smell my candles and go like, oh my God, that is so strong. Like, there's no way I would burn that. So people that don't like super strong smells, I guess I'm not for you, because they are like very strong. I like to make them so they do a big room. I don't like making them so they're just going to do a little room, and that's not for everyone. So even my room sprays, same deal. I've been told that it'll just blow your head off if they spray it too much. I'm like, that's why I make them strong. They're only, you need 1 or 2 sprays. That's it.
Do you have a candle that, like when people smell my candles, I'll say that's a big room scent, that's a bedroom scent, that's a scent for people that don't like a scent that gets up their nose. So, if they're buying a gift, big room scent, bedroom scent, light scent, do you have a light scent? Like, do you have people that
I don't.
You don't.
I don't. I'll refer them to you. I say, Sue does calmer scents than me. I do foodie scents.
Yeah.
So, you either like them or you don't, pretty much, with mine.
And that's right. Yeah. I've had a lady, I started with what I call the original scents, and one of them was Tropical Night. So it's an Aussie candle scent, and I started with that one and Close of Day, which is actually Sonoma Sunset, and they're my 2 best sellers. Absolutely love them. I can't stop sniffing them. And I had a lady the other day who picked up a Tropical Nights. Tropical Nights is actually Birds of Paradise. So she picked it up and went, oh, my God, that stinks. And I just sort of was like, oh, well, I love it and it's a bestseller, but I do appreciate the feedback like that, because if I had 8 out of 10 people pick up that candle and go, oh, my God, that stinks, well, then I would think I'm not going to make that anymore. Yeah. But she was the first person ever, and it really took me by surprise. I'm like, but it's my favourite.
I would have cried myself to sleep, so.
No, I didn't. I laughed. I had a giggle. And I do enjoy when people pick up a candle and I watch their faces, whether they like it or they don't like it, because cross-section of community, and, if they pick it up every time and it's not like, well, then I think it's not going to stay there. But everybody's noses are different, aren't they? I could pick something up and go, I love it. And Bec, you pick up something and go, oh, my God, Sue, that stinks.
Yeah.
So we're all different. It's good to have a little of a cross section for everybody.
So important. What about you, Alicia?
I just do what feels right for me, but if I would listen to them if something was wrong,
Yeah.
or not working properly, or but if it comes down to just the scent of something, because everyone is so different, if they don't like a scent, then I pretty much just put that down to them not liking that scent, unless something was totally wrong with it. But I'm really good, and I have my sidekick sister, so she tells me everything honestly. So she I would just probably go to my sister and be like, smell this, and then get the truth from her.
Yeah. And look, and that's why we offer more than one scent. We don't just have
Yeah.
one fragrance in our range and hope for the best and hope that everyone will love it. That's why we have, maybe some fruity and some floral and some earthy and some masculine and sweet. And we've got all the different ones. So it's important to have different fragrances on offer. And the amount of fragrances you offer will obviously vary from business to business, depending on the brand and what you want, your brand to be. But if you're getting multiple customers saying the same sort of comments, take that feedback, learn from it, pivot if needed, and don't be stubborn just because it's a scent that you really love or that you really love to make. You can always just make it for yourself. You don't have to sell the candle that you make. But if you're not listening to your customers and if you're not taking on board constructive criticism, your business won't grow. And that's where the personal growth journey comes into it as well, because you need to have a strong heart when you do get feedback that isn't necessarily the most encouraging. If you're listening to your customers and learning from what they share with you, it's market research. It's the best way that you can move forward with making decisions for your business.
I once had someone tell me that Aussie Bush, I had an Aussie Bush candle. This is when I done the Whittlesea show last year. They told me it smelled like a cemetery.
Oh, that's so specific.
I was like, I took a double take. I was like, what did you say? And she's like, oh, the florals reminding me of a cemetery. Like,
where was she hanging out when she's with her friends? I go to cafes. I don't go to cemeteries, but that's okay. Ladies, I would love to know, do you consider yourself successful right now as of today? Or do you feel like it's still something in the future?
I feel like it's in the future.
Yeah, same in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Sue?
I am pretty happy with where I am right now. I have a nice little group of candle addicts. Yeah, I'm very happy. I wouldn't say I'm successful, but I would say that I'm known in the community, and that's probably a nice thing. Yeah.
I think it's important to acknowledge the successes that you've had to get you to where you are, but not to stay stagnant just because of the successes that you've had. Like, definitely acknowledge them and definitely feel grateful for what you've achieved. Alicia and Becky both said that success is in the future. How do you view where you are right now?
I think it's just a part of the journey for me where I'm at the moment. I'm not happy with where I'm at, and I feel like I should be happy with where I'm at because of where I come from. But I'm a perfectionist, and I'm probably my own worst enemy when it comes to anything that I've created. Like, I will be very hard on myself, and I think of success as like getting consistent sales, getting consistent traffic to my website, which I'm not getting at the moment. And I know, like, the economic times, things are different at the moment, but I really base my whole business around growth, and I'm not getting the growth that I really want at the moment. So yeah, I feel like once I'm there, then I can say I'm successful. But at the moment, I don't think I'm very successful.
And yet, if someone was to look at your candles, your branding, your photography, and see where you are, they would love to be where you are.
Well, that's right. And I do have people saying, oh, but you're killing it. I'm like, yeah, but see, that's me, like, being very critical of myself. Like, I feel some days I can go, oh, yeah, I did this. And then other days, well, pretty much all days, I'm like, I've got so far to go.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, Bec, because I look at your posts, I look at your pictures. I think that you look amazing. It looks like you're killing it, so it could be how you are thinking.
Yeah.
The look of it. But yeah, I look at your posts, they're always amazing.
Thank you, Sue. That's very lovely.
There's a lot of positivity when it comes to your brand, Bec, and
Yeah.
like your brand is so fun. It's so like lighthearted. It's so joyous that you can't help but smile when you see your candles, and you can't help but imagine how beautiful they smell. And yet, as you say, like your definition of success is different from the next person. And in your eyes and in your mind and your current perspective is you're not quite there yet. And you're using that as motivation and fuel to get you to where you want to go. So as long as it's not keeping you, like if as long as it's not holding you back, if you can use those mindset tricks to push yourself forward, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
I feel like me being able to get like a casual job to prop my business up at the moment, like I'm not making sales where I want to be. I can't do markets because of health reasons. So I needed to do something else. And I felt like getting a job is going to be able to pay for my advertising, pay for my new product photography. And yeah, so that's what I've had to do. But I feel like to be successful is to not have to work for someone else. So I'm on a journey for that.
Yeah.
And one day I will have my own little shop front, and yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah. And we'll be cheering for you the whole way.
Yeah. Awesome.
Definitely. What about you, Alicia? You still feel like you've got a fair way to go?
Yes, especially if you take away the fact that I had a previous candle business and just look at things from the new one from the last couple of weeks. It's only a couple of weeks old. So I'm very much back at those beginning stages of finding customers and the right people to buy the candles and even the right, Instagram followers and followers elsewhere. And I've thought of even joining local Facebook groups to advertise in as well, because last time with Sweet Soy Candle Co, I stayed away from local businesses and community, and I don't know why, because there could be growth there, especially if I offer, free delivery or something to my suburb. Or so I feel like there's still so much room for growth.
Do you do markets?
No, I done a couple last year. I don't like them. I just don't like them.
How come you don't like them, Alicia?
I found that it was because I live in a regional town where there is no market, and then so I have to drive at least probably 40-ish minutes to get to one, which is okay, except for the fact that all the markets here, for some reason, you have to be there by like 7 a.m. So I have to get up at like 5 or 4, and it just ends up being a really, really long, exhausting day. And the first market I did, I got food poisoning from it halfway through.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm just traumatized.
Yeah, you're traumatized from that.
No reason for not wanting to go back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
So I have applied for a market though, through Craft Markets Australia. They're doing an event for the Harry Potter in the Briars that is coming. They're doing a market there. So I've applied for that, but I might go. It's in a month, so we'll see.
Maybe don't eat any of the food there just in case.
No.
Ladies, I've got one more question for you. If any new candle makers are listening to this episode, what's some advice we can give them? How can we help them and encourage them and support them in their journey?
Well, for me, I think like you're going to have your bad days. So, yeah, especially when you're not where you want to be, you need to keep pushing forward. And yeah, no matter if you want to give up, there's people out there that believe in you, even if your circle doesn't believe in you. So, yeah, you got to prove people wrong. And I feel like that's what I need to do as a candle maker, as well as a business owner and a mum. And I wear a million hats, and I feel like, yeah, you just can't give up on yourself and your own dream.
Definitely. It's so important to believe in yourself, especially when people around you are doubting and verbalizing their doubt of you and your journey. If you've got that inner drive to create something of yourself and to create something more, and it happens to be a candle business, that's how you want to project that. You've got to stay the course. As we said before, it can take, 5 years to see real results. Every business is different. There are going to be businesses that expand faster and some that have more of a slow burn, but you've got to have that faith in yourself. So that's beautiful advice. Thank you, Bec.
No worries.
What about you, Sue? What would you say to a new candle maker that's just stumbled across this podcast episode?
Well, coming from the market perspective, I would say presentation. Good presentation at a market, tablecloths to the ground, present them on different levels, but make sure your candles are made well. So many times, you'll be wandering around a market and there'll be a new person and I'll go and introduce myself and, the wicks are off center or they're dusty and dirty and all those things I think are important. Presentation, making sure it's well made and being regular. Like when I first started at market, I didn't sell a lot, but the more people got to know me, the more I sold and the more people came. So presentation, be consistent and make sure your candles are well made.
Because I feel like, Sue, you got that trust now with especially the European community. Like you've built that since 2011. Like you've been there, you've done the hard yards and people are like, this lady's good because she is consistently here every single month. And I feel like, if markets are going to be your thing, then you really got to commit to that because like I did markets back to back last year, like for the whole year. And you can't compromise on that.
And I do think it's hard if you do every single market within a region. So, there might be, 5 markets a month and the same people go to every single market.
Yeah.
And so people go, I'm not going to buy a candle today because I know Sue's going to be at the market next weekend. So I don't go to every market. So when they see you or I there, Bec, and Bec's not at every market now, so we have to buy a candle today. But if you aren't going to be at every market, pick a market to be consistent at. So I'm always at the coastal markets. Bec does a lot more of the rocky markets.
Yeah.
Being consistent is good.
Being consistent in all aspects of your business and life is so important. You can't just, dabble in and out and hope that it's going to create this business. It's going to run itself. You've got to get that, you've got to push that rock up the hill to get to the top to then get the momentum. And if you're not willing to put in the hard yards when you're not seeing results, you'll never see results.
That's the moment you challenge the most. Like that's what I feel is putting me to the test the most is you're not seeing that growth. You're not getting those daily sales. I'm being able to do markets, so I can't get that little boost on a weekend of that income. Yeah, it's those moments that are going to make you.
Or break you.
Or break you. Yep.
Yeah. If you haven't done the inner work or if you're not willing to put in that personal growth, it's hard. It's really hard to have a business. And I think it's important to shed light on that as well and let new candle makers know it's not just the testing that's going to test you. It's every aspect of your business, especially if you don't have any business experience previously. If you haven't studied business or done further education, like you're going to be learning everything, but try not to be overwhelmed by it as well. You just need to take it one day at a time. You will learn as you go and you will grow as you go as well. What about you, Alicia?
I have 2 bits of advice. The first one is education is key. Like learn as much as you can, obviously, like you said, without overwhelming yourself. But even things that you don't think are going to be useful could be. Like I could be listening to a YouTube video or podcast and hear something and think, I don't need to know that. But then in the next day or 2, it'll come up and I'll be like, wait, I had heard that the other day. So it was like useful listening to that, even though I thought at the time it wasn't. So I think education is really helpful. And then the second thing I think that is so important that I'm seeing, for some reason, I'm seeing this all over Instagram, people saying DM to order in their bio instead of having a website. I think it's the fastest way to tank your business. So if you're starting a candle business, do not put that in your bio, have a website.
I agree with that so much, Alicia.
Yeah. I don't understand.
Trust in your brand. Like to me, DM to order means scam me out of my money.
Yeah, me too.
And you don't necessarily want to have a conversation with the business owner. You want to go to the website, see some pretty pictures, get excited about your order, click add to cart, purchase, move on, and then await the delivery. Like if you're messaging someone and you've got a question about the business and they don't come back to you for several hours, you've already gone to another business. So I agree. You need to look into the website options, and there are a few out there. And that's a whole research project in itself, is finding the right website. But you have to have an online presence in that way rather than expecting strangers on the internet to message you to give you their money. So
100%. I feel that Alicia nailed that.
Ladies, is there anything that you'd like to share or any other questions that you want to chat about tonight?
I'd just like to mention that I got my first collective store now in
Really?
Goulburn, I think you say, in New South Wales. So a little collective shop contacted me on Instagram and said they were coming to Rockhampton for Rocky Nuts and if she could meet me. And she met me and took my stock with her.
Oh,
Oh,
congratulations.
Yeah, so I was like,
That's
"Woo,
huge.
I'm in New South Wales now, guys."
Oh, that's fantastic. Well
Yeah.
done.
Thank you. So yeah, that's very exciting, something that's really gone good for my business.
Yes. And will that be like an ongoing relationship?
Yeah, so I'm on a 2-month trial at the moment, just to see if it works out because I'm like, oh, maybe no one will buy anything. 4 things have sold this week. So yes.
Wow.
So yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Another step forward, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't built your business to where you are now.
Yeah.
To have someone message you and say, hey, I want to come and meet you and I want to see your
Especially all the
candles.
way from New South Wales. I was like, oh my God, okay.
Yeah. So when people say, oh, I can't be bothered going to my local market, they're not your people.
No,
Someone was willing
that's
to
right.
go interstate for you. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's all those new photos.
I know, and guess what? I've got new photos coming as well. So I've had my candles and room sprays done, and now Georgie's doing my body mist next at the end of this month. So my website's going to look amazing.
Wow.
Fun.
That's so
Yeah.
inspiring. And I will mention, I will put all of your links in the show notes as well, ladies, so that people can click through, see what your businesses are about, and connect with you as well. But just one other question, since Bec shared a huge win. Alicia and Sue, do you have any wins that you want to share and be celebrated for?
Well, I've just made a bubble bath product.
What?
Yay!
That's cool. Tell us about
Yeah.
that.
So, the candles are quite a relaxing thing. And I wanted to have a bubble bath product because I love bubble baths. So I would have 2 a week, I reckon. And so for me, it's lighting a candle, having a little glass of something and a beautiful bubble bath. And because I enjoy it so much, I think it's something that other people will enjoy. And when I looked around, there's not a lot of bubble baths out there for grown-ups, lots of kiddie bubble baths. But there was only one product that sort of caught my eye locally that you could buy off the shelf in a bubble bath. So I thought, I'm going to have a go at this. And I bought a small number of jars and I'll see how it goes. And if it's a success, well, that's great. I'll keep it in the range. And Mother's Day's coming up. So I've got some beautiful little gold flowery travel tins that'll go well with the vintage looking bottles and sell them as a little gift pack. Yeah, so I'm really excited about it.
That's
so
awesome, Sue.
exciting. Yeah. And Alicia, do you have any exciting news that you can share?
I love how you asked that knowing the answer.
I do know the answer.
Yes, 3 fair orders today, which is
Yes.
awesome. 3 wholesale orders.
So good.
In one
Yeah.
day. That is amazing. And they
It's
took you by
crazy.
surprise as well.
Yeah, because I was doing my normal full-time job. I finished at 2:30 and then I opened my laptop and looked at fair and I was like, that total looks wrong. Like yesterday I looked and it was only $100 worth of sales. Why is it saying 800 today? I was like, oh no.
It was so
It clicked.
it clicked. You got some big orders, which is it's such a it's so it legitimizes you. Like it makes you feel so good when someone else has gone on that journey when you haven't even been aware they've gone on the journey of looking at the website and looking at the products and clicking and adding to cart and then making that transaction. So that is the best. I'm so happy for all of you guys. I think it's just and all of your wins have been something different. Like they're different things, but they're all so exciting and they definitely need to be celebrated. So thank you so much for running your businesses so that we can celebrate your businesses and your wins. I have thoroughly enjoyed chatting with all of you tonight, and I'm thanking each of you for being on the first Candle Maker Connections podcast episode. For any of the listeners that want to get in touch with Alicia, Sue, or Bec, as I said, I'll pop the links in the show notes and you can click through, say hello, send them an Instagram or a TikTok DM or just send them an email or, just connect and cheer them on, because I think it's just so important to support one another. And I'm just so proud of each of you. I think that what you're doing in your businesses is so incredible, and it's just such a testament to believing in your values and believing in what you want to bring to the market in terms of your products, because we wouldn't be doing this just for the money. We're doing this because of our passion and our dream and our goal, and knowing that we're made for more and that we want more for our life. And by doing that, you inspire other people. So thank you so much for being on this podcast tonight, and I can't wait for the next conversation.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, my friend, for listening to this episode. Check out the show notes for all the links mentioned throughout the conversation, and please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you're feeling inspired, I would love it if you would write a review for the podcast and give a 5-star rating. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful day.